You're listening to Catching Up with Robin, broadcasting live from Austin, Texas.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Catching Up with Robin. I'm Robin.
I'm Ajante.
Ajante is my 11-year-old co-host and show's producer for me right here on Spreaker. So, today I'm excited because I just received a text on my phone from the one and only Rodney Allen Rippy. And in case you haven't had a chance to listen to any of the couple other shows that I've done, I've been mentioning that we're excited about the fact that we're going to be able to interview Rodney Allen Rippy on our live radio show that my son and I host right here in Austin, Texas, called Branching Out on Air. It's a live show. It comes on every Sunday from 1:30 to 2:30 Central Standard Time. And our guest this Sunday, joining us by phone, will be Rodney Allen Rippy. Now, you may remember Rodney Allen Rippy from the 1972 commercial that he did for Jack in the Box. He was a cute kid promoting their Jumbo Jack, and I actually was born and young at that time, but I do remember the commercial. I remember that I loved to watch that commercial. He was just such a cute kid on that commercial, and so I found some contact information for him, and I reached out to him and asked him if he would be a part of our radio show, if he would allow us to interview him, and he has said yes, and we are honored for that opportunity. So Rodney Allen Rippy is out in California, so he'll be joining us by phone. Hopefully one day when he's in the Austin area, or if he comes to Austin, we'll be able to get him in studio. But for right now, we are honored just the same to be able to speak with him by phone and have him give us his time on a Sunday afternoon to talk to our listeners. So what he sent me on text was an approval for a flyer that I did. My son and I want to promote the show, make sure that we give listeners and everybody out here a chance to call into the show. Our show here in Austin is a live interactive show, and so we made a flyer just to help us promote it and just to get it out, the word out into the community that Rodney Allen Rippy is going to be on our show. So I just received a text from him because I had sent a flyer to him to make sure that he liked the design that we did, and see if he wanted to add any changes or take something away from it. So he said that he approved. He said that he was going to start promoting it too. So I was excited that he took time to text me back. He's a really, really good guy. He's a very nice guy. I've talked to him on the phone maybe about 3 to 4 times now, and I've sent texts to him throughout the time that we've been coordinating the interview, and throughout the time that we've been contacting each other just to let him know what's going to take place. And he always takes my call. He's always kind. He's always interested. So I hope that you get a chance to tune into this show on Sunday. We're going to talk to him about what, he's been up to throughout the years. I know a little bit about what he's been up to, and I'm excited to have him share what he's been doing and what he's a part of from his own mouth. I always like that, live conversation and having the individuals speak for themselves to our listeners and, just let listeners know from their own mouth what they've been doing. One thing I can tell you now is that he is very successful. He's continuing to be very successful. So Rodney Allen Rippy will be interviewed live by me, Robin Johnson, and
me, Ajante Johnson,
on our live show here in Austin, Branching Out on Air. If you want to tune into that interview, it should take place at about 1:45 until about 2:25 Central Standard Time, because we're in the Central Standard Time zone. So it's an interactive show. If you want to call in, if you want to say hi to Rodney Allen Rippy, if you want to share with him how you remember seeing the commercial, or maybe you have something of Rodney Allen Rippy's. Maybe you have one of his dolls. Maybe you have one of his aprons, because I know that he had some products out during the time when he was doing the commercial. So whatever you may want to say to Rodney or ask Rodney, we'll give you a couple of numbers. That way you can call in and be a part of the show. What are those numbers, Ajante?
512-637-9673 or 888-860-9673.
So if you're here in Austin, you can dial the local number. If you're outside of Austin, you can dial the 888 number and be a part of the show and get your questions ready for Rodney, because I'm telling you, he is very nice and he will be happy to answer your questions. So far, that's how my day has been going, and that's how Jonte's day has been going. We've been having a productive day over here in Austin, and although we only do our radio show once a week, behind the scenes, we're always preparing for it, reaching out to guests, deciding which topics we want to talk to, which is something that all radio shows do. But I said that ever since I started this show here on Spreaker, that I would update the listeners who are tuning in to me and just let them know, what we do throughout our day, what a day in the life of a Jonte Johnson and myself, is like. And so that's what our day has consisted of today. It's a beautiful day in Austin where we live. The sun is shining. You can hear the birds singing. So it's an absolutely beautiful day. Now, I've been doing all the talking since the show started, except for the exception of giving out the phone numbers for our radio show and allowing my son to say his name. So at this time, I'm going to see what my son wants to say to you.
Hey everybody out there, it's Jonte Johnson, and I also want to thank my 25 followers. If you're listening to Catching Up with Robin, that is broadcasting live here from Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, and thank you just for listening to my show, and thank you for listening to my mom's show, because she just started off, and a big cheer to my mom. You're welcome, Mama. So we are broadcasting live on air for different users that you might want to search. Go into the search user bar and put in Robin Johnson, and then on that page you'll say feedback from Rodney Allen Rippy, and then you just click live. So you can listen to us live, but now we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. You're listening to Catching Up with Robin, broadcasting live from Austin, Texas.
All right, everybody, we are back with Catching Up with Robin. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you're enjoying what you're hearing. If this is your first time tuning in to Catching Up with Robin, what my show is about is I basically update you on what's going on in our world over here in Austin, Texas. My son and I host our own radio show here in Austin called Branching Out on Air. And so what I do again with Catching Up with Robin is I'll catch you up to date on interview guests that we're reaching out to, that we want to talk to on the show. If I get an interesting phone call from them, if I get, a cool bit of information from them. I always want to share that with someone else and just help brighten their day, help encourage them, and maybe let you know what's happening in the life of your favorite athlete, your favorite actor, your favorite singer. We've had quite a few interesting people on Branching Out on Air, and I say interesting, but they are interesting, but they're inspirational people. Their stories are successful. They've made not only a local name for themselves, but a national name for themselves as well. So, so far we've interviewed Cedric Benson. He is the former star running back for the Texas Longhorns. He's now a current NFL athlete. We've also interviewed Donnie Little, who was the first black quarterback to play for the University of Texas. We've also interviewed a gentleman named Steve Wolf. And Mr. Wolf is the president of a company called FX International. And FX International is a company that he owns. He's a stunt coordinator, and he has performed stunts on David Letterman, America's Most Wanted, and a few other shows. His resume goes on. And most recently, he trained the stunt doubles as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger for the recent movie The Last Stand. So Mr. Steve is, a very nice guy also. He has also worked with Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, and the late Whitney Houston. So we've had him on our show. And as I said, we interview a lot of individuals who were born, raised, or currently living in Austin that has excelled not only on a local but a national level. Because if you've ever been to Austin, if you've, lived in Austin for a brief period of time, or if you're thinking about moving to Austin, Austin is an absolutely cool city. I mean, we're the only city to have South by Southwest. We have an event twice a year called the Pecan Street Festival, and that gives vendors a chance to showcase their artwork, whether it's T-shirts, whether it's what do you call that, Ajante? Sculptures, metal sculptures. And I'm going to let Ajante tell you some of the cool things he sees when we go to the Pecan Street Festival.
Well, I saw there was fun puppets there, and I got one of them. It's a little hippo, and later after the show or during the break, I'm going to post a picture of that, of my hippo puppet. And me and my mom, we were sitting down by a tree eating some pizza from Rapolo's. And if you're here in Austin, go downtown to Rapolo. It is delicious. But we were watching some kids on the bull rides. Remember that, Mama? Yeah. Yeah, and then some of them fell off. Oh, they actually fell off.
So that's just one of the fun and cool things that, Austin has going on. We bring individuals into the studio, and we let them share their story of, what this chapter of their life is, what they're currently doing, what they're hoping to do in the future. If they've achieved, a first, we let them come on and share that. And a part of what we do with the show is, I want to attract the children. I want to let children who have dreams of becoming an actor, a director, a filmmaker, a sports athlete, to know that their dream is absolutely real. It's something that can be accomplished, and is not necessarily so much where you come from that determines success, but rather what comes from you. So, a lot of times I feel like even in schools, I know that, children read textbooks and they study the lives of so many great icons and so many great leaders. But, those leaders, a lot of them weren't from Austin. A lot of them aren't alive anymore. Most of them aren't alive anymore. And, the kids are not able to reach out to them and just kind of continue to see their, story, because if they're not alive anymore, their story ends with, where their life ended. So one thing I like to do with the radio show is speak to, community leaders, city leaders, icons, and just let the children know that they are positive role models all around them, right in the community where they live, right in the neighborhood where they live, or even right in their own home. And, sometimes we kind of take it for granted, and maybe we don't realize that we are, maybe we don't mean to take it for granted, but I want children to see, okay, my mom is a teacher, that's an accomplishment. My dad is a fireman, that's an accomplishment. Or, I have a cousin who's a singer, or I have, a cousin who plays baseball. Sometimes we take those things for granted. I like to stop, take a deep breath, take it in, and,